Hi creators, it is so glad to have you back. If you are new here, welcome. This episode I want to tell you about some recent email marketing projects I have going on because I think there's stuff in here that you can absolutely learn from. And the first project I want to tell you about is creating a waitlist strategy for my producers' networking community, Cocktails and Close. So I have a whole bunch of stuff that I am going to try and give you the easiest Spark Notes version here because I think it can actually apply to your business and your own email marketing strategy. So right now, Marie is selling out the last few spots of her community and then the doors close. After that, the community is closed. Baby, it's closed. And every single new lead goes on a waitlist. So essentially we need to make sure that as soon as the waitlist is open, bing, bang, boom, baby, she is selling it out. So here is how people are going from the internet into her paid monthly income. So she is getting people from Threads and Instagram by creating FOMO content, by social proof, by having community members shout everybody out. That's what she's doing. Then people are being put into ManyChat, okay? Or she's just having conversations with them on Threads, DM, whatever. All right. Somehow she's capturing their email. Then they're going to get sent a welcome email. Email 0 fires the same day. Then they're going to get a 2 email welcome sequence on days 3 and 7. Then they're going to be popped into our weekly newsletter where we're sharing FOMO, wins, events, and speed networking dates. So every 2 months for those on the waitlist and the waitlist only, they will be invited to a speed networking event. This is totally free and it comes with a couple of prizes for those that attend. All right, so from the newsletter, that is one place where people will find out who are on the waitlist when the next networking event is. Then they will also find out just by being on the waitlist through other emails when the next Speedwood networking event is. They go to the event, a spot will open, bang, bang, boom, the waitlist and the people specifically who came to the event get 24-hour early access to the community while the rest of the waitlist finds out 24 hours later. Okay, so let me break this down for you because there's a lot of email nuance going on here and I love every stupid minute of it. So let's talk through every single email that needs to be written. So the very first one goes the same exact day somebody signs up for the wait list. They get email 0. Welcome to the list, my friend. All right, well, I'll spare you the details of what exactly goes in on that one. Next email they're getting 2 days later says, here's what's happening this month. Okay, so we're showing them legitimately, here are the events going on, here's the calendar, etc. The next email that's going out is about the fastest way to skip the waitlist line. So we will introduce the idea of the speed networking event for free, how it's open to the waitlist, and that at the end of the event, if you attend, you'll have an opportunity to jump the queue and join in on the first available spot. There's zero pressure going on this call. It's actually a networking event. It's just with this bonus caveat that if you attend, you'd have the opportunity to go to the front of the line. So the women who show up are the ones who get in first. All right. So that's like the welcome little sequence there. Then everybody gets thrown into a weekly newsletter template. They get a recurring send, same structure every single week. This is going to be so easy to recreate with all of her amazing content and team. Bang, bang, boom. We're creating FOMO. All right. Now, 3 weeks before the speed networking event happens, we need to email the entire waitlist to say, hey, my friends, this is happening 3 weeks from now. So it's a standalone email announcing the upcoming event. Then we'll do an email 1 week out and then like the day before, 24 hours ahead of time, the event is happening, as well as potentially one like right before it's happening, like an hour before or something. All right. This is where we get a little bit nuanced. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. So for those who attended the networking event, they're going to get tagged. Okay. They're going to get tagged in Kit as speed networking attended. Everybody who already signs up for the speed networking event gets tagged in Kit as speed networking sign up. The importance here is that we need to differentiate who actually attended versus who actually signed up, because you don't get rewarded for signing up and not showing up. You only get rewarded for showing up. So once the event is over, the people who did attend, and this is where the process is a little bit manual. If you are on the call, like somebody on Marie's team needs to actually note who showed up. So for the people who did show up, once the event is over, they'll get an email that is like, hey, you were in the room. Wasn't that awesome? It was so great to see you. We're going to remind them of the 24-hour early access perk they get because they showed up to the next spot that opened. So they get to find out before everybody else on the wait list when the first spot to join the community is open. Now, there's another email, and this one goes to the people who signed up for the speed networking event but didn't show up. And we're going to say, like, we missed you. Here's a little bit of what went down. Keep your eyes peeled for the next event. Here's why you would want to come. So we're going to keep the FOMO alive without making them feel bad and let them know that this is the reason why you want to attend. Okay. So now let's say there is a spot open in Miss Cocktails and Clothes. Everybody in the speed networking attended tag on Kit gets a 24-hour early access email. This is a short, direct, exciting email. You showed up, you get first dibs, a new spot just opened. You have 24 hours before this goes to the full waitlist. Here's the link. All right. Then after 24 hours, whether or not that spot was claimed by the people who attended the speed networking event or not, the entire waitlist is going to get an email that says, a spot opened. It was snagged by someone who came to the speed networking event, because we want people to come to the event, right? Because we want to sell out the spot. So we need to tell the entire list that, hey, that we sold out the spot from somebody who showed up. So there's your incentive to show up next time. That's what's going to happen. Now, let's say for some reason, nobody who attended the event snagged the open spot within those first 24 hours. The next email that goes out is to every single person on the wait list with a door open spot available. So this just goes out to everybody with the tag in Kit waitlist. A spot has opened. The link is live. First come, first serve. When it's filled, Heartbeat, where she runs her community, closes it automatically, which is awesome. So like we don't have to necessarily build that tech. It does it for us, which we love. And Heartbeat can display a sorry, this spot has been filled, or there's like nothing available message, which like chef's kiss saves my booty from figuring out something else. So yay. And then the people who join get an email that says, welcome to Cocktails and Clothes, my friend. You are in, let's do it. And we swap the tag and Kit from waitlist to Cocktails and Clothes member. All right. So how the hell are we going to structure her weekly newsletter so that people are foaming at the mouth to knock down these doors of this virtual community? Let's talk about it. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what's happening in Cocktails and Clothes this week as well as this month. This is a template we're creating, okay? This is not like nothing we're ever doing is starting from scratch ever. Let me make that very clear. The next section in this newsletter is going to have community wins, testimonials, replays. I myself have made a lot of money from this community, so there are plenty of testimonials to go around about how impactful this community is and why it is so amazing. So we have plenty of those. We're always going to talk about those. We're also going to have a section that is a reminder of when the next speed networking event is and why you should come. I'm not going to get into exactly how the event of the speed networking is going to work because you don't need to know that. You don't need to know that. So that's essentially what I'm doing with Marie. And there are a couple of details that actually make sure that this is going to run flawlessly. And one of them that I encourage you to do as well is segmentation from day one. No exceptions. So this entire system only works if the tags are clean. Meaning someone is clearly tagged waitlist, they're clearly tagged speed networking sign up, speed networking attended, Cocktails and Clothes member. If every single thing is done consistently, bang, bang, boom, no problem. The other thing that will actually make this work is building a content bank. So once a week, someone on Marie's team is going to scroll through her feed, screenshot the wins in the community, member reaction, testimonials, collaborations, breakthroughs, put them in a Google Drive. We have a million content things to say in the newsletter. Then we're going to do a speed dating recap. And this is going to do double duty in the newsletter as well as on her IG feed. So as soon as the event is over, the networking event, we're going to take photos. We're going to do recaps, and these are going to go in the newsletter as well on social to get FOMO and make people feel like they are missing out, so they need to get on the wait list and they need to attend this next event so they can get in the community. We're also making the waitlist feel like membership light, so that by the time a spot opens up, a waitlist member should already feel like they belong there. And most importantly, we need to never, ever, ever make sure this waitlist goes cold. So even if for some reason there's a weekly newsletter that is missed, we're sending a catch up. I don't care if it's on Tuesday or not, we're sending it. Here's what you missed inside, because the FOMO has to stay warm. Nobody can have the fear of missing out if they don't know what they're missing out on. And a cold waitlist doesn't convert. It doesn't convert. Warm people convert. Okay, so that's the project I'm doing with Marie, which is Chef's Kiss Beautiful. Let me tell you about a project I did with Anya. Let me open that up for you. So the next project I did was going from 0 to a fully automated newsletter system in 3 weeks for a business strategist. And this is one of my favorite projects of the year because I truly, truly, truly love getting in the back end of businesses and building all of this out. It's genuinely so fun for me. So Anya helps coaches and business owners clean up the chaos and build systems to give them their time back, but her own systems were not looking so hot in terms of the newsletter world. So what we did for her, she was first thinking about Substack train, and I get it. Everybody's talking about Substack, but the reason I talked her out of it is because it wasn't aligning with her business goals, and it's totally disconnected from the rest of her business and the systems that she's building. So instead, we built her entire newsletter foundation inside a platform she was already using for the rest of her business, GoHighLevel. I say it all the time, I'm so anti another login, and this is proof that I mean it. We're not setting up another fancy login tool, Substack, because other people think that we should. We're doing it because it makes sense for your business or not. The next thing we did is I built a branded newsletter template for her. So to do that, I did the strategy piece. I was like, hey girl, all right, let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about what you want to achieve from someone reading your newsletter. Because again, we're never just sending content to send content. There's always another goal. And then I built her a template. And then I actually had so much fun building her a template that this was out of scope. I built her a backup one-off email template. Then I built her 2 sign-up forms to the newsletter. And you're like, why do you need 2 sign-up forms? I'll tell you why, and why you probably need at least 3. So the first one is for organic email signups. This is for any old Joe who goes to her website and sees that she's a newsletter, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with her. Let me put in my email. Okay, they didn't come from any lead magnet. They came from the universe. Cool. That means they get a different 0 email than somebody who signs up from a lead magnet. So if someone is listening on her podcast or they go to her website and see she has these free resources and they click on one of those resources and they want to download it, now you're on her email list. And the email 0 you get is different from Joe, who signed up from just the plain old website. What you get is a little bit tailored to what you just downloaded, because we also need to deliver you the file that you were requesting by putting in your email. So that's why we needed 2 forms, okay? One for lead magnet people, one for everybody else. That also means we need 2 completely different welcome sequences. All right, not every single thing in this welcome sequence needs to be different, but the first 2 emails absolutely do, depending on how somebody found her. Then I built a full automation tying it all together. So not only did I actually build the template of what the welcome sequence, like the copy could look like, what it would look like in here, but I built one with, I actually wrote the copy for her. And here's the thing, she has 80% of her copy already done. I just helped pull it all together and finish that 20%. Okay. Like I mentioned, I also gave her the content strategy so she knows exactly what to send, where to find it from her own stuff. And I always build all my clients a document mapping out how all of the automations and sequences I have created work, so that she's never lost staring at her own back end again. Because I find when I am working on projects like this, even in my own back end in business, if I take a break from the project, and usually I do because it's like hours, days long process, I come back and I'm like, I don't know where I started or what I was doing, because I've built these systems and these automations, and girl, I don't know where I went with it. So I always create a document that outlines how it all fits and works together so that she knows and can explain to a team member, this is how this all makes sense. I also met with her and her team to explain everything in a recorded session where they could ask questions about how it all works, so she's not left high and dry with just a Google Doc. So it took 3 weeks from kickoff to launch for us, and she started sending immediately. And that was so much fun to do, okay? It was the unglamorous stuff, but it's also the stuff that actually works. I have another client that I won't bore you with at this time, but don't worry, I absolutely will soon. And that is how we have created or are creating for her a monthly newsletter and everything involved in that. But until then, happy creating. Go send your stuff, go send your emails, and I will talk to you soon. Just a reminder that you became a travel creator to travel, not to spend 12 hours in a cafe in Croatia, hunched over your laptop in total shrimp mode, wondering if your latest post is actually going to hit. Knowing how to create good content and knowing how to run a content creation business are two completely different skills, and absolutely nobody is talking about it. Well, except me. The Travel Creator Business Plan is the only business building community in the world for travel creators who want to move into business mode and not chase the next shot mode. Every month, you get one brand new business system delivered straight to the community. You also get monthly co-working sessions and Q&A sessions, as well as a private community of other travel creators who are building real businesses. Courtney, one of our members, says, "You achieved more with me in 4 to 6 weeks than I did in 6 months with other programs. You gave me permission to chase not only what lights me up, but a business roadmap that matches my goals, not some cookie cutter process." And Courtney, I love having you in there. So if you are a travel creator who is done learning how to be a creator and ready to learn how to be a business owner, the Travel Creator Business Plan is for you. I'd love to see you inside, and I will leave a link to join us below in the show notes.